Welcome to another episode of Prevailing Through Pain, where today our healthcare hero is Fernando Lopez. Fernando is the Perioperative Supply Chain Manager for a hospital in the Midwest, and we're so excited to have you here today. So thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So Fernando, I love to give our viewers a little bit of history about the Fernando growing up. You know, they see us in our positions today and think that we just woke up overnight and we got in these positions, but they don't know the blood, sweat, and tears behind the scene of our humble beginnings that led to make us the people that we are today. So with that being said, could you just give us a little bit about your background?
That's right, absolutely. As you stated, I come from humble beginnings, grew up on the north side in the Midwest. A journey that I felt that when I started looking at my parents and how hard they worked, how focused they were to support the family, because it starts from home, right? It's how you lead at home. So that helped me with myself, carried me through in life with my journey.
Okay. So let's talk. You said you grew up with both your parents in the household.
Yes.
And that, yeah, I mean, you know, I didn't. I grew up in the house with both my grandparents. I didn't have, you know, my parents, and so that that says a lot right there, just to me, for me, somebody that didn't grow up in the house. Did you have siblings?
Yes.
What number were you?
Number one.
Okay, so I was going to ask. I was number two, but the pressures of being number one for me, well, being number two for me, it was like I felt like I had to set that example. So, how many siblings do you have?
Just one.
Just one?
Yeah.
Male, female?
A younger brother.
So a younger brother. So parents, hard workers, you and a younger brother in the house. So give us a little bit about.
Yeah. So
we about that.
Growing up in a very diverse neighborhood allowed me to work, encounter, and talk to different people from all backgrounds, which was one of the great things where we grew up. And you learn from each culture. And that's the beauty about where I grew up, is being able to understand everybody.
As a little boy.
As exactly right.
Really?
Yes.
And that's different too. I mean, I was predominantly Black neighborhood, you know, African American neighborhood. And then in the second grade, yeah, this is telling my age, but we were integrated. The schools were integrated when I was in the second grade. So now I'm in a school where I'm the only one that looks like me in the classroom, and you know, and it seemed as though we were speaking different languages, even in the second grade, and it's like nobody really wanted to get to know the other. So I think that's great at an early age that your neighborhood looked like that. So it wasn't like just going to school and then you coming home and everybody looked just like you. Exactly. You were in a neighborhood where.
No, exactly right. Funny that you mentioned second grade, because even like for me, when I started out school, I was in a Spanish class. It wasn't English. So as far as language, Spanish was my first language when I was a young child. Not until after third grade, parents noticed that I was speaking more Spanish than English, and it was difficult for me because at home you hear Spanish, my classes were in Spanish, but there was not enough English. So one of the challenges, even as a young boy, one day they decided to switch me classes to English class. So I went from Spanish to English. And that was difficult because all of a sudden the teacher's talking in English and I'm like responding in Spanish. But that was a great experience that I was able to overcome even as a young boy, learning how to navigate with others, other cultures, other people, which was, I think, it was a great experience. At first, it was, I would say, difficult, only because I didn't have the same classmates.
Right.
You're used to having, friends, and you're in the playground playing. But then when they made that switch, it was like, wait a minute, this is a whole new world I wasn't used to. But within time, like everything else, you do your best to overcome things. Even as a young kid, you're just taught to fight, right? To overcome and not give up.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that I remember, that for me, even as a young kid, transitioning from the Spanish class to an English class, uh, that was difficult, but I overcame.
So tell us about one of the happiest times in your life, and it doesn't matter at what age that you can think of, that one of the happiest or proudest moments.
One of the proudest moments, I would say, as a young kid, I'll go back to being a kid. I played baseball, and I was always one of the guys who almost made it to a championship. We just never had like a complete team. Um, I remember that after several years just playing in the Park District, just seeing the other teams winning, and I'm just, second place, third place. I was finally able to make it to a championship.
All right.
And that took a lot. And to get there, I remember we were last inning in the sixth inning. Game is on the line. Um, we were up by one. I was playing third base, and the other team was gaining momentum. They were getting people on base. Before you know it, it was like bases loaded. They had no outs. So then they bring me in to pitch to try to close the game and try to win the game.
A lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure. Night game, the lights are on you. You have family, friends watching, and I'm sitting there. Okay, I love to pitch. I'm a competitor. I'm a big fan of Michael Jordan. So to see Michael Jordan overcoming what he went through, playing against the Celtics, the Pistons, the Knicks. So for me, it was always like, I'm up for the challenge. It doesn't matter. But there was a lot of pressure. So think about it like this, sixth inning, no outs, bases loaded, everybody's counting, everybody's yelling. So eventually got the first out, second out. Then the last one, I was facing one of like the best hitters on the team. And all of a sudden, he hit the ball. It goes up in the air, second base. And all I can do is just see the ball and just praying that the second baseman catches the ball. And as the ball is coming down, he catches the ball, and then we win.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was one of like the happiest for me as a young kid, just overcoming, playing baseball, and then finally winning a championship. It was like one of the best feelings. And then for me to have the ball and to be able to come through at the end, that was amazing.
Yeah, you were the hero in that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's a dark time that you can recall?
Dark time. I would say, I think as you grow up, especially in the neighborhoods, as you grow up and you go through certain things in life, I would say, I think for me, as you're trying to go out in the world and trying to figure out what is your next move, as a young kid, I would say that kind of felt a little bit lost. A little bit lost. But with the faith, with prayers and believing, I would say that that helped a lot. I think that at that time, um, spiritually,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that helped me only because I would say that I grew up Catholic, but then I became a reborn Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just God's timing. God's timing.
Yeah. I'm a Christian, and my grandmother used to just say, if you ask God for it, and if you believe in it, and I started trying it, and you know what? I haven't turned back. I haven't turned back since, cause in cause my humble beginnings, I was a shy person. I was an introvert. I was a kid that was picked on, and I was a mean kid because I, turned that into anger. If I couldn't be anybody's friend or whatever, I just beat the crap out of everybody. I realized I was strong, and but being raised in the church by my grandparents, and so it's one of those things that no matter where you try to run from that, being Christ is in you, and you can't run from it. It's going to raise to the top because you remember that goodness of who Christ is, and so.
Absolutely. I would say, again, it's God's timing, but I remember, as we all know, right, growing up, kids have pressures in the world too, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
expectations. There's always something that is needed. As you get older, right, things change.
Yeah.
From a young kid, they give you what you need. As you get older, you have to learn how to, work for it, and go through the motions and going to school and everything. But then there's a moment that I feel that people like myself, there's a moment you get lost, a dark time. Um, but luckily, I was able to overcome that through Christ, um, and it was an amazing moment because I remember actually I was meeting a friend at work,
Mm-hmm.
at his work, and the secretary was part of the Christian church that I didn't know. Not until she said, "Hey, um, I want to invite you to the church." Just having conversations, and I was just sitting and waiting, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." And it was just timing. So when I came to the church and I was ready to accept the Lord Jesus Christ as my Savior, it was an amazing experience because I will say that when I got to the church, I was in the back and I was ready to give my heart and everything to the Lord, right? So the next thing you know, as I stand up, pastor's calling everybody out, and I see um, this light coming towards me, a light, just a shining as I'm accepting. And after that, I can tell you that um, the next day, everything that was on my shoulders, everything that was weighing on me, it was removed.
Lived it. I believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know about you, but as a young person, I never thought about medical field, not really, and didn't know anything about the sterile processing arena. So how did you find your way into healthcare?
That's a great question. So healthcare has been like in the family. So my father was in healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, he started at a young age as well. So growing up, seeing him come from work, and sometimes he'll talk about stuff from work and stuff, but healthcare has always been around the family. So it intrigued me because even as you're growing up, you're taught to help each other, um, serve each other in one way or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So from that perspective, it always triggered. It was like a big interest for me in healthcare. Like, what is it in healthcare that people like doing over there? And what I found out for me is that at the end of the day, like how I grew up and how I was taught is helping people, putting somebody first, right? So that's how my journey started in the healthcare, is by through the family and just wanting to help people.
Okay. Did you start out in the supply chain area?
I started in the mailroom.
Okay.
Yeah, I started in the mailroom part time, just trying to get my feet wet, trying to figure out what move I wanted to do, see what I wanted to get into, because there's so many different opportunities in the medical field, right? But I started in the mailroom.
Okay. Hold that thought. We're going to take a sponsor break and we'll be right back.
Do you have a powerful story of perseverance? Have you triumphed over pain and want to share your story with the world? We're looking for inspiring guests to join us on the Prevailing Through Pain podcast. Head over to karencherry.me/guest. Fill out the form and let us know your story. Your voice could be the one to inspire others. Your experience can be the one to lift up someone else. Go to karencherry.me/guest.
All right. And so we're back. And you said you started out in the hospital in the mailroom.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a great experience for me because even in the mailroom, as you're getting the, the letters or, documents, stuff that's needed, that people are expecting to receive, I would say, just learning where each location was an experience, and who was working where, just, grabbing mail, right? Everyday mail that comes in, sorting them out, and then delivering to the departments. That was a great experience just because I was able to get to meet people,
Right.
Talk to people, ask them about, their job and what they do, just learning basically. I'm over there just learning, observing, delivering mail every day. And I took that with great pride because that's important, just like how we expect our mail to be delivered. Same thing in the hospital.
And I love that you said, with great pride, because I'm going back to my grandmother because that's who raised me. She used to tell me, if you accept a responsibility, you do your best job. And and doing your best, I feel like you have to take pride in order for it to be your best. And she said, and if it comes to a time where you don't want to do it anymore, then you do the right thing. Don't do the job. You do whatever it is that you need to do, whether it's turn in a notice or whatever, to move on. I used to get so frustrated with my sterile processing coworkers when I was as a technician, that I would see where they would throw things in the floor. Like you open up something and you just drop the outside wrap in the floor versus putting it in the garbage can. And then they say, well, housekeeping is coming through here. Like, housekeeping's responsibility is to empty the trash, not pick your trash up because you're too lazy to pick the garbage up off the floor. And I never got that. I just thought, why different positions within the hospital, and I'm gonna say mailroom would probably one where some people looked at that as though it wasn't one of the top positions in the hospital. But it sounds like it's from what I hear, you probably got respect because you gave respect. And so, with that being said, was there ever a time that you can remember where somebody wasn't as kind as they probably could have been?
100%, especially in the medical field. You just don't know what people are experiencing at the moment, or what they're going through. But yes, 100%. There's been times where people weren't so kind, so nice. But that being said, what I will say is that I don't hold things personal. I'm always going to be the light, to try to help others, to either try to help them or, change their tone or attitude. Maybe they came in with something, they didn't leave it at the door, or something's going on with what they're going through at work. But I can't judge them. All I can do is help them, and that's how I would counter that is, with kindness, and just wanting to be a friend. Like, how can I help you? Right? Seems like something is wrong. Is everything okay?
And you know that's not an easy thing for a lot of people, right?
And I 100%, right? Because when somebody feels like disrespected or not being talked to in a nice way, um, the natural response would be, well, I'm on a tag boat now. Okay, now you're calling me out. Okay, right? But for me, it's the opposite. It's just wanting to help people, and if I can help them have a better day, I will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where did you go from the mailroom? What was next?
That's a great question. So from the mailroom, there was a position that was available with supply chain. And that was with, delivering, ordering supplies and delivering supplies to the floors, to the patient units. So when that opening was available, I wanted to take the opportunity, as I stated before, in the mailroom when I was delivering, observing what people do. Like, what do you do? What's your job? Oh, do you deliver supplies? Okay, to where? To the nursing units, right? So that intrigued me a lot too, just learning. I already knew the locations basically by delivering the mail. So for me, it's like, okay, I already have something that I know that I can take with. I know where all the departments are, the ER, ICU, 3 North, so
that was perfect because that's what you did, just in another capacity, right?
Exactly. So delivering mail, now I'm ordering and delivering supplies. So that's where my next move in healthcare was, in supply chain. And that was a great experience too, because I will say it took me further deeper into talking to nurses, doctors, and understanding the importance to have supplies available for the units. It's patient first, right? That's the mindset as we come in every day at the hospital, is putting the patient first.
Right. So is all this experience where you are now, and starting in the mailroom, in the supply chain, is delivery, is it all at the same hospital, or did you navigate through different hospitals as far as moving up?
That's a great question too. Thank you for asking that. So the way my journey was, it was within the same system, but different hospital.
Okay.
Yeah. What I learned from going from the mailroom into supply chain, and wanting to know more. See, once you get a understanding of what you're doing, and then you also understand there's more to that. There's other pieces to what you do, like procurement, purchasing. How does everything connect together, right? So I've always wanted to learn more. So what I did was I wanted to get into different roles. Once I felt that I was ready to move on, I wanted to be in a different area in supply chain, because I wanted to have a better understanding on how everything was connected. So if you think about it this way, I'm ordering supplies through a handheld, right? Then the supplies come, it gets delivered to the hospital, it gets received, then you have to unpack it.
Right.
And then now you have to now start delivering supplies. So the question I was asking myself, so how does that all work? How do we do that? How is that all, entered in the handheld? How is the data entered in the handheld, right? That's one. How do we receive it? When we think about pricing, how is that set up? All these things were coming into my mind, and I wanted to get deeper into supply chain. So then I started looking into other opportunities, because I wanted to be well-rounded within supply chain. I wanted to be able to answer how everything works from start to finish. Yeah.
And I love that, and I hope our listeners will take something from this, because it's one of those things where you said you knew what you knew, then you started trying to learn other areas that were connected to that to get a good understanding of how it all worked together. So then it sounds like when your next opportunity came, you were ready for that. So what was after?
So after managing the supplies, um, I managed also the inventory.
Mm-hmm.
After managing the supplies for the floors, then I managed the inventory for the hospital, which was a great experience because now you're dealing with a bigger budget.
Right.
You have to look at the cost. So now you're getting into more of managing dollars. It's like having your own store, making sure that you're financially responsible, um, and making sure you have the supplies available as well. So a lot of different things that you have to work and understand. Um, but I appreciate that experience too because it helped me understand more. It wasn't just ordering supplies. Now we have to manage, the supplies financially.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have to make sure that we're not overspending. We are, making sure that we have the proper par levels. Um, so
Right.
that was a great experience for me.
So being in the same system, I'm sure some of the people you started out with probably were still where they were, mailroom, the delivery when you were delivering supplies. So I'm sure you had relationships with some of those, had built relationships with some of those people. Do you feel that as you were progressing and some of those people may have still been in the same place as far as your relationship with them, if there were people that you were friends with, do you feel as though as you moved they continue to be friends, or did any of those people like try to discourage you? And I'm saying this because I'm asking this because so many times, especially, so me, I was 15 years in the same department. And some of those people that had been there years before me, then I ended up being over them. And everybody wasn't as happy for me as I was for myself as I was moving. Moving up? What were some of your experiences?
Well, as for me, I would say that a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
Me being young at the time, hungry, just thirsty for knowledge and
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be great in what I did, always with great pride. Something that going back, that was taught, I learned. I would say that for me, I tried to not have friendships.
Mm-hmm.
It was just more work related.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to keep it, that simple. It wasn't where I was trying to build friendships.
Mm-hmm.
It's just more maybe just work friendships.
Yeah.
That being said, that helped me with my career as I was moving up and doing different roles because that relationship wasn't like we were best friends
Mm-hmm.
or it was just the same relationship. However, I did notice that people were, not happy, uh, made things a little bit challenging at times, but you still have to work together,
Mm-hmm.
right? But that was a great experience for me too because I was able to learn how to navigate around people that weren't happy for me, um, and be able to still continue to do my job.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the toughest things that I went through was to
Mm-hmm.
try to navigate and still try to keep that healthy relationship.
Yep. I where you said as far as your work was your work, you were trying to learn and trying to grow. I didn't really have. There were people that I was friendly with in the department, but not necessarily friends because I was there trying to do my job. So for me, it was easier than most to transition from a frontline employee to a supervisor to a manager because I was always in there about the business, trying to learn and trying to grow. And like I said, there were people that did verbalize they felt that maybe that position should have been theirs, or that they weren't as happy for me, but that didn't bother me so much because I felt that was more their problem and not mine. I know that sounds selfish, and I think so many times we shortchange ourselves in our career because we water it down, dumb it down, trying to make somebody feel like uh, we're equal. And so don't be mad at me, or I don't want them to give me their position because I don't want Johnny to be mad at me, and we shortchange ourselves so much in life. So I love it that you were focused on learning and growing. So with the peri-op piece, that's a whole different breed. So dealing with departments with supplies, and then now, well, even though the peri-op piece, it was probably still about supplies, but now being a manager in that spot, do you think the clinical side of it was a little more challenging once you inherited that?
I would say so.
Mm-hmm.
And just if you don't mind, I'm going to go back just a little bit.
Okay.
So as I transitioned to these different positions, I got myself also familiar with a different role within supply chain.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to think about it this way. The reason why I'm saying this is, and I'll tell you in a minute, but when I was doing my job at the time with the inventory, I was able to speak to purchasing, right? Able to learn what they do as well, because me managing the inventory, I had to work with purchasing as well. So that was something that it was just a daily thing. So, hey, there's an open order out there. When is it coming?
Mm-hmm.
So, they would call the vendor and get the ETA and stuff like that. So even working with them on a daily basis also intrigued me on what they would do. So then I had an opportunity with a different system, and I worked in purchasing as well. And I say that because I learned, as well as working with vendors, mm-hmm. the clinical team as well, as far as their needs for the departments.
Right.
So, you get nurses calling, I need, such and such supply. Okay, don't worry, let me see how I can help you. So, that experience helped me a lot working with clinical teams as well.
Okay.
And that's how I feel comfortable now in the current role with Periop. It is a little bit challenging because it's a different space. There's a high demand mm-hmm. in the clinical, right? It's 24/7. You got to come in there with your A game all the time.
Roller skates.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. And and with them being responsible for the direct patient, it's and I understand, definitely understand why the demand is the way the demand is with the clinical side. And so I love the fact that you're well-rounded with all of the pieces that have to do with direct patient care. Before you said as far as the buying what they need, knowing how to manage that system to make sure that you're getting the best pricing for your hospital, and then the pieces that need to be put together to make sure that our patients have the best outcome. So you got a lot of shoulder up here to carry. So I thank you for being our healthcare hero. I thank you for investing, it sounds like, pretty much your whole work history into healthcare. And I just say keep letting your light shine, and I can't wait to hear what's next, because I see that star steady going up and that journey continuing to thrive. So thank you so much for being a guest on our show today.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you.
Thank you so much.